I welcome you to the Messiah Revelation channel. This is a prophetic end time ministry dedicated to the gospel of the Messiah, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Yeshua, who is coming to rule, and you need to repent. And today our message is focused on identity theft. And I will consider this to be the greatest, biggest identity theft in history. The greatest identity theft of biblical proportions. We are talking about the identity of the true Hebrews, those who are scattered over the world, the identity that has been hijacked. It has been taken by people who claim to be the chosen of God. This is what we are talking about. In law, there's something we call adverse possession. When we talk about adverse possession, we are talking about a situation where the true landowner is dispossessed of his land because an intruder has taken over, and the true owner was not vigilant. And so the law will support the intruder to take over your land. That's the law of adverse possession. And so in the United States, somebody can adversely possess your land if after 20 years you do nothing about it. The adverse possessor can even get court support to divest you of your ownership of the land. And as we are making this video, there are several questions that need to be answered. Who are the true Israelites? Where are they? Are they on the land that was promised to them by the Lord to their forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? The real fact is that the Hebrews are in captivity. But whilst they are in captivity, Jerusalem is occupied. And all of a sudden, we hear the news, we hear the movies, we hear the pastors and evangelists are talking about who the true Israelites are. And they are focusing on those who adversely occupy the holy city, the city of Jerusalem. Are you surprised? No, you should not be surprised. You should not be surprised because the greatest identity theft in history was prophesied by Yeshua, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. He made two statements to Apostle John in the book of Revelation. Revelation 2, verse 9. Revelation 3, verse 9. In the end times, there will be an identity theft, and there will be people who claim they are Jews, but they are not. Who are they? The Messiah said they are of the synagogue of Satan. The Messiah also characterized the claim of those who say they are Jews. Is it legitimate? The Messiah said it is a blasphemy. So the Messiah in Revelation told Apostle John the blasphemy of those who say they are Jews, but they are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. Lucifer is a liar, and those who claim possession, those who claim identity through Lucifer, they obviously are liars. And the book of Revelation is very clear. Anything that loves lies and listen to lies shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. And so we are talking about the identity theft. And the Lord spoke about it in the Gospel of Luke. So let's look at the Gospel of Luke. Luke 21:24, as we talk about the identity theft involving who the Hebrews are. So we are looking at the writings of Luke, Luke 21, verse 4. Luke 21, verse 24, rather. Luke 21, verse 24. The Messiah talking about a condition that will precede his coming, his second coming. And he was talking about what will happen to his people. In Luke 21:24, regarding the Hebrews, the true Hebrews, they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles is fulfilled. And that is the prophecy not from Ezekiel, not from Jeremiah, but from the master prophet himself, Yeshua, talking about what will happen to his people, what will happen to his city, the city of Jerusalem. The Messiah said that the Hebrews will fall under the sword of the Gentiles, and they will be taken captives into all nations. And it means that because they will be taken captives into all nations, they will not be occupying Jerusalem, because they will not be around to occupy Jerusalem. In their place, Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles for 1 year, for 2 years, 4,000 years. I'm not sure. But the Messiah said Jerusalem will be trodden down by Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are fulfilled. And so when you see Jerusalem being trodden by Gentiles, you refer to the identity theft that the Messiah was talking about it. The identity theft that the Messiah was talking about. First, he warned you that some people will call themselves Jews. They are not. And he told you who they will be. They will be of the synagogue of Satan. And Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles. It means that Jerusalem will be taken over. And so don't be surprised when you see Jerusalem being taken over by Gentiles. It is prophesied. It is part of the prophecy of the Hebrews who are still in captivity. The Hebrews were in captivity. They were in captivity in Assyria. They were in captivity in Babylon. Our brother Daniel was in captivity when he prophesied the things that will come in the end times. He was in captivity in Babylon. And Joseph, he was in bondage, the land of bondage in Egypt. And you are aware of that. And his descendants are in bondage. At the time of making this video, they are in a new Egypt, because the prophecy written by the holy prophets, as recorded in Deuteronomy 28, verse 68, says that they will be sent in ships into Egypt again. And so it's very clear that the Hebrews who are in captivity, they are in captivity because it was long prophesied. It was prophesied by the prophets Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Isaiah. They all know that when we talk about the Israelites, the chosen people of God, they are people who have always been scattered, as they were scattered to Assyria, as they were scattered to Babylon, and as they were scattered to all parts of Africa, as they were scattered to the Negro land in West Africa, where they founded a state, the Kingdom of Judah, that was recognized by all those who know that there used to be a Kingdom of Judah in the place that the Europeans and the slave masters call the slave coast. The Hebrews are still in captivity, and Jerusalem is occupied. The Hebrews are not on the land. They are in captivity. They are out of the land. And so those who have occupied the land, they are using their possession for propaganda advantage. They possess the land, and the land is their own. The land was bequeathed to them by Elohim. But beneath it, you see the identity theft that we are talking about. And the Hebrews who are in captivity, and some of them are not aware that they are Hebrews. And some of them are aware they are Hebrews, but they don't have the mouthpiece. How can you sing the song of Zion, when you are in captivity in Babylon? And so the young man, the young lady standing on Martin Luther King Boulevard in Baltimore, or standing at the corner of Fifth Avenue in Chicago, who is awakening his brothers and sisters that they are the true Hebrew Israelites, nobody hears what they are saying, and nobody cares what they are saying, because they don't have the mouthpiece. And their brethren do not even know that they are the Hebrews spoken of in the Bible. It was expected. It was expected. It's part of prophecy. And so we have to remember what the Apostle Paul said. The Apostle Paul, from the tribe of Benjamin, an Israelite, he said there will be a time that the Israelites will be blinded. There will be a blindness of Israel. And so we have to look at what Apostle Paul wrote about in Romans chapter 11, verse 25. For I will not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come. Apostle Paul is saying that there will be a mystery. It's one of the mysteries of heaven, that those who knew they were the chosen of God, those who worship Yahweh, those who worship Elohim, a time will come, they will forget their language. They will not speak an iota of Hebrew. They will forget their God. They will be in captivity and they will be blind. And when Paul is talking about the blindness of the Hebrews, is not only talking about those who didn't go to school. He will be talking about the Hebrews who have PhDs. He's talking about the Hebrews who are pastors, but they are blind. They are blind. The blindness has not enabled them to see who they are. The blindness has influenced their thinking. They are blind to the fact that they are Hebrews. And Paul said that it is one of the mysteries and the blindness of the Hebrews, that they are the Hebrews, they are the chosen of God. It will continue. It will continue until the times of the Gentiles. And so the Messiah and Paul were talking about the same thing. They were talking about the times of the Gentiles. In Luke 21:24, the Messiah was talking about Jerusalem, that Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are up. And in Romans 11:25, Paul, the apostle of the Gentiles, was explaining the mystery of the blindness of the Israelites, the Hebrews. The blindness will come, they will forget their identity. The Hebrew in Babylon, United States, does not know that he's a Hebrew because his identity has been taken. And the Messiah said, instead, there will be people who call themselves Jews. They are not. They are of the synagogue of Satan. The Messiah and Apostle Paul were talking about the same thing. And they were talking about a time when the Hebrews will be in captivity. And the Messiah said that Jerusalem will fall, the Hebrews will fall under the sword, and they will be made captives in all nations. And there are two types of nations in the world. There's a nation called Israel, the nation chosen by God to be a light unto the Gentiles. All other nations are Gentile nations. And something will happen when their city will be destroyed by the Gentiles, and they will be taken captives to Gentile nations. And whilst they are in captivity, while they are captives in captivity, they will be blind of their identity. The blindness is not eternal, it is temporary. They will be blind. They will be blinded by their identity until a time. What time is that? Until the time of the end of the Gentiles. And I'm not sure whether the end of the Gentiles is now, but I know by what is happening in the world now that the time of the Gentiles is up. And you can see that the leaders are speaking. And even Adolf Hitler spoke. He spoke the other day about who the true Israelites are. And the president of Egypt spoke, Gamal Abdel Nasser. He spoke about who the true Hebrews are. He spoke when he said the Hebrews left Palestine as black men and women, but they came as white people. That was a diplomatic answer. He was speaking about the identity theft that we are talking about. And the president, even of Syria, has spoken. And he said that the Ashkenazi, those who are Khazars, they were from the eastern part of the Caspian Sea, and they converted to Judaism in the 8th century. And so they are not the original Hebrews spoken of in the Bible. The awakening is coming. Is the blindness of the Israelites, the Hebrews, is it coming to an end? And probably it's coming to an end. Definitely it's coming to an end, because we see that the end of the Gentiles is up. And that's why in 2024, you saw Vladimir Putin, president of Russia, declaring with boldness that the Messiah was a black man, and he and his people in Russia, they will worship the black Messiah. And that is a great awakening, and it shows that the identity theft has been exposed. But they are still not ready. They are not ready to accept the truth. And so they still continue with stories and fables, and they use Bible scriptures to distort the fact. And they refer to Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. So let's look at Genesis chapter 12, verse 3. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. And this is a promise that the Lord made to Abraham, that the Lord will bless those who bless Abraham, and he will curse those who curse Abraham. And those who are the progenitors of the identity theft, the theft of Hebrew identity, and they say Genesis 12, verse 3 refers to them. And they tell you a story that United States has been blessed because United States has blessed Israel. They are talking about Israel of 1948. The question you ask yourself is, when did the Lord start blessing America? Because of America's blessing for the 1948 state. when you listen to these fables and stories, they want you to um, accept their theory that the 1948 state constitutes the gathering of God's people. Is part of the identity theft. And the conspiracy was international. The conspiracy about the identity theft was intentional. And so you saw in 1948 international diplomatic efforts, including Harry Truman, President of the United States, including Lord Balfour of Great Britain, and including the rich men of the universe, the Rothschild family, combining their minds to establish a state in Palestine, and they call it the State of Israel. And they want the world to know that they are the chosen of God, and God has blessed his people. God has blessed America because America has blessed Israel. The Messiah told you that Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles are up. And I know you are aware that an armada of ships, they are around the city of Jerusalem. And the armada of ships owned by Gentile nations, fulfilling prophecy in Luke 21:24, that in the end times, prior to the arrival of the Messiah, at a time when the true Hebrews are in captivity, Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles are up. And Apostle Paul also reminds you in Romans 11:25 that the blindness of the Hebrews will be apparent. It will be clear. The Hebrews who are in captivity, they will not know that they are the true Hebrews. And that blindness will last until the time of the Gentiles. It's all happening now. And so the identity theft is going on. And so you see some evangelicals in continuing with the propaganda about who the true Israel are. They say United Kingdom and United States, they are the Manasseh and the Ephraims, or they are the Ephraims and Manasseh. They are the lost tribe of Jacob. How come? How come United States and Britain, the Gentile powers that kidnapped the children of Judah and sold them into slavery in America, how come they will be Manasseh? How come they will be Ephraim? How come they will be blessed? And yet the evangelicals in America, including Pastor John Hagee, is saying God Almighty blessed Babylon America. Almighty God bless New Egypt America because America blessed the 1948 state. That is a blasphemous statement. We're talking about America, the nation that participated in the kidnapping and the captivity of the Hebrews and subjected the children of Jacob to all types of treatment, lynching, racial profiling, putting knees on their necks, excluding them from civil liberties. And there was a time when they were counting human beings, the children of Jacob, the Hebrews, the Negroes. They were not counted as proper and fit human beings. they were considered as 3/5 of a person, below a person. But that is part of prophecy, because Deuteronomy 28 talks about the curses that the Hebrews will go through because of disobedience. And as a result of the curses, their identity will be stolen, and the identity has been stolen. But we are looking at the prophecy in Luke 21:24. Jerusalem will be trodden by Gentiles. How long will the trodden take place? Not long, not long, because this is the time of the Gentiles. And we remember what Apostle Paul said in Romans 11:25. There's a mystery that the Hebrews, they will forget that they are Hebrews. They will be blind. They will be blinded. And the blindness will be prophetic. And it will continue. It will continue until the time of the Gentiles. And so the identity theft was prophesied. The true Hebrews, the identity as Hebrews will be stolen. The identity will be hijacked by people who claim to be Hebrews. But it will not last long. The awakening is coming, and the awakening is prophetic, is divine. And nobody can stop the awakening, because he who has been blessed by Elohim cannot be cursed. And that's the hope that I give to you. The Hebrews who are scattered over the world, those who do not know they are Hebrews, those who are blind of their identity, your blindness will not last long. It will come to an end, because the times of the Gentiles will come to an end, and it's coming to an end. And the holy city, Jerusalem, the city of your father David, that city will be your city, because that city will be trodden by Gentiles, but it will not last long. The defilement of Jerusalem, the armies encompassing Jerusalem, it will not last long, because the times of the Gentiles is now. And that's the hope that I give to you, O daughter of Zion. My brothers and sisters who are scattered over the world, the identity theft has been exposed, and you are in captivity. You come out of captivity, and the prophecy is waiting on you. Your prophet Isaiah has prophesied that the Messiah will gather you from the places where you are, and you will no longer be blind, and Jerusalem will no longer be trodden by Gentiles. Thank you for watching this video. I'm leaving the links of the video in the description box. Thank you very much, and be aware that no longer will your identity be taken from you, either by force or by adverse possession, by propaganda, by intimidation, by the use of force, by deceit, by false pretenses. And that is the message I have for you. Thank you.